I'm live. Okay, we are reading part 2, chapter 9 in the book by Max Lucado. He still moves stones because everybody needs a miracle. It says up here. Everybody needs a miracle. And he still moves stones. I had to end chapter 9. Well, chapter 9 was kind of a long chapter anyhow. And my son came to visit. I am unashamed lover of my children. And yeah, I will stop reading for the love of my children. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'll start kind of where we left off. Remember the guy had bought the story about the fellow who went to the pet store in search of a singing parakeet. Seems he was a bachelor and his house was too quiet. The store owner had just the bird for him, so the man bought it. The next day the bachelor came home from work to a house full of music. He went to the cage to feed the bird and noticed for the first time that the parakeet only had one leg. He felt cheated. He'd been sold a one-legged bird, so he called to complain, and he complained. "What do you want?" the store owner responded. "A bird who can sing or a bird who can dance?" Good question for times of disappointment. What do we want? That's what Jesus asked the disciples. What do you want? Do you want temporary freedom or eternal freedom? Jesus sets about the task of restructuring their expectations, and he's still restructuring our expectations every day. You know what he did? He told them the story. Not just any story. He told them the story of God and God's plan for people. Then, starting with what Moses and all the prophets had said about him, Jesus began to explain everything that had been written about himself in the scriptures. Remember, we're in chapter 9, we're on the road to Emmaus, where Jesus runs into the two apostles. One is Cleopas, and they didn't recognize him until they were going to stay with him for the evening, and he broke the bread at the table. Fascinating. Jesus' cure for the broken heart is the story of God. He started with Moses and finished with himself. Why did he do that? Why did he retell the ancient tale? Why did he go all the way back 2,000 years to the story of Moses? I think I know the reason. I know because what they heard is what we all need to hear when we are disappointed. We need to hear that God is still in control. Oh yeah, I need to hear that all the time. We need to hear that it's not over until he says so. We need to hear that life's mishaps and tragedies are not a reason to bail out. They are simply a reason to sit tight. In fact, in one of my devotional books that we're reading, Jesus Calling, it often refers to these times of trials and as the times you need to most sit in the arms of God and just dwell there. Sit tight. Corrie ten Boom used to say, when the train goes through a tunnel and the world gets dark, sometimes it really seems dark today, do you jump out? No, of course not. You sit still and trust the engineer to get you through. Why did Jesus tell the story? So we'd know the engineer still controls the train. The way to deal with discouragement, the cure for disappointment. Go back to the story, read it again and again. Be reminded that you aren't the first person to weep, and you aren't the first person to be helped. Read the story and remember, their story is yours. The challenge too great, read the story. That's you crossing the Red Sea with Moses. Too many worries? Read the story. That's you receiving heavenly food with the Israelites, manna from heaven, and the game birds, always in the evening. Your wounds too deep? Read the story. That's you, Joseph, forgiving your brothers for betraying you. That was a huge betrayal. They sold him into slavery. Your enemies too mighty? Read the story. That's you marching with Jehoshaphat into a battle already won. Your disappointments too heavy? Read the story of the Emmaus bound disciples. The Savior they thought was dead now walked beside them. He entered their house and sat at their table, and something happened in their hearts. It felt like a burning fire burning in us. When Jesus talked to us on the road and explained the scriptures to us. Next time you're disappointed, don't panic, don't jump out, don't give up, just be patient. And let God remind you, He's still in control. It ain't over till it's over. Yeah, we have a little thing here. It's called The Smoldering Wick. It's a little poem. He's ending this chapter with a poem. The Smoldering Wick. Fibers interwoven for flame. That would be a wick. Flame ignited for light. Cold gusts, hot blasts. Candle overcome by night. Yet, stubborn ember struggles, duels with shadows and seeks. Brighter flame for power, dancing fire for heat. It's amazing how sometimes an ember won't make it, and other times that ember won't stop. Jesus is our ember that won't stop. Okay, so we're done with 9. I don't know how long have we been in here. Let's see how long 10 is. Oh, it looks pretty long. We better save 10 just for 10 tomorrow. And it's called The Power of a Timid Prayer. When you wonder if your prayers matter. I haven't felt that way for a long time. I know sometimes it feels like they don't matter. But I believe they matter. I think they matter more than ever. I believe pray unceasingly. I believe praying for your country, praying for your enemies. And like Muggsy says, she's constantly saying this. She always has to remind herself. Jesus loves this person, but Jesus does. We don't love us. Misdirected, applied where they should not have been applied. It's sad. I'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless. End the stream. Ending the stream.